Foundation Forward, where history meets the future. We are richer in wealth, health, philanthropy, and culture than ever before. Groundbreaking advancements happen daily. We have more personal freedoms. Our citizens have more opportunities than ever imagined. We go where no one has gone before, and we enjoy an unprecedented personal quality of life. It truly is a wonderful time to be alive in the United States of America, and the future for our children has never looked brighter. We owe much to our founding fathers and their great foresight. Struggling with a tyrannical, oppressive government of the colonial British Empire, our forefathers rebelled, revolted, and then fought a war, all while setting up a fledgling government that would still be in place over 230 years later. Taxation without representation brought about the Boston Tea Party. Paul Revere rides to warn the colonists about the British Army moving out of Boston toward Concord, New Hampshire, in pursuit of patriot leaders. The fighting of the Revolutionary War begins at Concord. The Declaration of Independence is approved, severing the colony's political ties to Great Britain and explaining to the world the reasons why. General Washington crosses the Delaware River to surprise and defeat the British and Hessians in Trenton, New Jersey. U.S. General Gates defeats British General Burgoyne at Saratoga. This was the turning point of the war. General Washington defeats the British at Yorktown, and the fighting of the Revolutionary War ends. The Paris Peace Treaty is signed, and the Revolutionary War ends. The United States Constitution is ratified. George Washington is sworn in as the first president of the United States of America. The Bill of Rights is ratified, and our United States Democratic Republic is established. This democratic model has been so successful, it has been the format for nearly 60% of the countries around the world. The Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. These three founding documents are known as our Charters of Freedom. The original documents are on display in the rotunda of the National Archives in Washington, D.C. Those who are fortunate enough and have the time can see their Charters of Freedom in Washington, D.C. However, most will never see these original documents. Vance and Mary Jo Patterson took that experience and in January 2013 set up Foundation Forward, an educational nonprofit.
From the beginning, this has been an educational project. Our founding fathers believed that in order to have a free and independent country, you must understand how government works, that you cannot control what you do not understand. And that's the purpose of Foundation Forward, to educate our students and preserve the history of our country, of our founding fathers, the story behind these founding documents, and what it took to bring these amazing ideals to reality. There are 3,142 counties, boroughs, parishes, independent cities, census zones, and the District of Columbia in the United States. Our goal as a foundation is to place Charters of Freedom settings in as many of those communities as possible over the next 10 years. Once these settings are in place, we don't just leave. We begin our community outreach and other meaningful educational projects. Imagine, if you will, teachers bringing their 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students on annual field trips to their Charters of Freedom settings, where they'll spend time learning about the founding documents, about the founding fathers. They'll learn how government is meant to operate, and about their state and local government, and local heroes. In addition, we've begun producing a Broadway quality production of 1776 the Musical, taking it into communities, offering it as a gift to the students. Last year, we invited the entire school system in Charlotte, North Carolina, free of charge from Foundation Forward, and we had over 1,100 tickets disappear overnight. It was an incredible performance, but what really struck home was towards the end of the play, when the representative from Georgia was on stage. He walked over and slid Georgia's name over to to vote for the Declaration of Independence. The kids just went crazy. And it was at that moment I knew that these kids had actually taken ownership of their American history, perhaps for the first time in their lives. And it was an incredible feeling, an amazing experience for all involved. Our hope is they took that experience back to their classrooms for in-depth discussions, and that they took it home and told their families about it, to make their families want to go down to their Charters of Freedom settings, creating a life experience, sharing that feeling, and their new appreciation for American history. It's through these efforts, by placing these documents in permanent proper settings, in local communities across our country, combined with the meaningful civic education programs, the site visits, and the Broadway quality production of 1776, that we believe we are helping to preserve the history of our country, the democratic form of our republic, so that future generations will have and understand the rights and liberties our founding fathers intended. Our hope is that our future leaders will come from communities where they have their own Charters of Freedom settings, that your children will no longer grow up talking about the Constitution and Bill of Rights in Washington, but they'll be talking about their Constitution and their Bill of Rights, the ones they grew up with right in their home community.
After one visit, these grade school children will know more about our history and government than most of the people in the United States. If your community is fortunate enough to have been selected to receive a gift of a Charters of Freedom setting, then that means the funding is in place. Funding that involves no tax dollars. Foundation Forward, an educational nonprofit where history meets the future.